Welcome to the session. I would like to introduce my three speakers first and ask them to come to the stage. First of all, the lady, please. We always have lady first. Michaela Slaba, she's HR director of Hilton Prague, more than 25 years. Where is she? Come on. Can I say you're a Hilton child? And a mother, okay. And she's very much active for Hilton, supporting CSR and doing many other stuff like diversity and inclusion. And I think she's a very good person discussing with us about next generation through the glasses of Hilton. I would like to have Duarte Correia. He is being, how many countries you've been? Okay, I think he will not be able to travel into America with his passport anymore. Take C wherever it's most comfortable for you. He's had more than 26 small luxury boutique hotels, London, Vietnam, Mauritius, Caribbean, but more important is he introduced the Swahili cooking school. He has a philanthropic initiative made in the Caribbean, and his very much belief is go follow your dreams and even against any odds. And finally, Professor Dr. Ray Iunius. He is a colleague of mine. Welcome as well. Based in Lausanne. Okay. In Lausanne, he also set up the new company winsed.swiss. Maybe you can tell me why winsed.swiss, because everybody has. This I understand, but when I say winsed.swiss, I have to spin around it at least 7 times before I keep it. And the VEG is a management and consulting group based in hospitality culture, striving towards the positive change of communication in people's life. What is our intention when we discuss? We were following, maybe you have the micros? Okay. Following the idea which we had recently in the discussion about the CapEx influences, and there were the question of what the employees think about it. It was interesting to listen to him. I would like to start in this simple question today. What is today's attraction in the hospitality industry for the next generation?
So I'm operational lady. I'm hiring team members, so I think I'm the right person, if I can say, to answer that question. And the values have changed a lot. And it's not related only to young generation, but it's also related to COVID, which all of us have experienced, and during home offices and changing of life and environment. Of course, new values came to young people and to new generation. I did my comments because during interviews, of course, we are taking notes what team members, potential team members and candidates are asking. So they are interested in meaningful work. So of course they are ready to work hard, but work and life balance is the most important for them. Then strong company culture. So all the time we are making interviews, they are asking what Hilton is offering, what programs Hilton is offering, what is going to be their career growth. Diversity and inclusion, very important, a very important question, all the time asking how we, for example, support Ukraine, how we support team members from different countries. ESG was mentioned during panel session, but it's also a question for our team members. They are very interested in sustainability, asking what we do as a hotel, what we do as a hospitality industry to support sustainability and social and government initiatives. And of course, friendly working environment. Great team, this is the most important, great team for them.
Do they ask questions about the job?
This is yes, but
sorry.
Yeah, but this is of course they are interested to know the job, but it's related, as I said, to working friendly atmosphere and environment. So they are asking how teams are working in the hotel. Of course, they are interested in benefits. And last question is salary. Salary is not the most important for new generation.
But it has to be high.
Well, it has to be high in the future. That's why they are very interested in career growth.
But that's the interesting thing. How does it, if you look, how does it influence investors at the end of the day? Mostly when we speak with investors, they say, oh, that's the operator business, I don't care. But we know all of us, as we heard previous, a good employees rate increases also the chance of getting investors into the hotel if you make a valuation out of it and behind of it. But maybe you heard the arguments now. When we heard them many, many times, and I can see in your face you're not agreeing 100% with it. So what is your opinion to this?
Well, first of all, let me make a link with what Charles mentioned. How important is the carpet, how important is the NPS. The problem that we do not realize is the tremendous importance for any issue today, first in hospitality, it's our colleagues. It was a joke on the web saying, forget about the guest. Take care about your people, because the guest will come nevertheless, you people will not come. And everybody saw that we are declaring that we are caring clearly, but when it's about doing something with the cost, the first thing from years and years it was cutting cost of education, cutting cost of training, cutting cost of the people. We declare that it's very important, but really we are doing nothing. It's exactly as environment, okay? Everybody's worried about the environment, but when you look what we are doing, what exactly are pandemic, you are absolutely right, changed a lot of things. But everything was changed by pandemic, didn't start in pandemic. Pandemic was an accelerator, a huge accelerator. We knew it, that it come. A lot of hotel chains, they have a marketing department for HR. In the last years, they do not have a marketing department for HR. It's extremely important to speak about our industry, about hospitality, to speak about the dream, to speak about this passport for a global way to live. Look, we are in an Eastern country, okay? If you look what has happened in this world in Europe, then what European Union brings and took out from the Eastern country, I don't want to say what it brings, a lot of positive things, but took out people. And if you look to what has happened in all these countries, a little bit less in Czech Republic, but Slovakia, that is as former Czechoslovakia, Slovenia, Romania, Hungary, people are going to the Western country. And people from Bangladesh, from other countries, they are coming in this country that will change culture and everything. We are in front of the dramatic change. We are doing very few things to change this part. It's a revolution, and this year it's a huge revolution, because this year we have many changes at the same time. Artificial intelligence, that will start impacting when we are not realize how huge will be this impact, in a positive or in a negative way. Social change, with the war, with everything what's happened with the United States, that it's split it in two, and yesterday I hear something fantastic, and Donald Trump is a fascist. That means half of the Americans are fascist, okay? Then by a famous economist, okay? And I do not believe this, but I believe that there are a lot of change, and we are contemporary this year with this tremendous change. And if we are not doing something to change our way to think in our industry, we'll face to the big problem, because coming back to the NPS, the most important thing that can increase the NPS is our people. The first thing that the guest is not looking to the, I don't want to minimize, you are absolutely right, that everything that we can see, it's important, everything we can touch, it's important, but the emotion, you never forget, the experience.
But this underlines my sentence, which I say we are having the biggest value change in the hotel industry since World War II, but nobody realized it. It seems to be the first one realized. Duarte, if you listen to this, and you're coming over 26 countries all over the world and just reviewing this, what is your impression in terms of, especially when you look to Mandarin Oriental as well, of the hospitality industry, in terms of what the investors would say behind of it, of the employees? I know we will have this movement. It will be a big movement of people coming from Asia to Europe and work here. It will be the only, in my opinion, opportunity chance to make our hotel industry business still ongoing. I've been in Egypt this year, and I met the MOD, and he said, hey guy, you're working since 9 o'clock in the morning. Is no rules in Egypt? And he says, of course we have rules, but look to my left and look to my right, they want to get my job. So I have to work harder. What is your experience in this case?
First of all, I agree completely with the comments made by Ray. I think that the pandemic, we would like to we always like to blame the pandemic for the problems that we have today, and I feel that that's not entirely true. I think that the pandemic simply shone a light of some of the issues that were already existing and acted as a catalyst for transformation and acceleration. As far as the operators, the investors are concerned, when an investor is selecting a particular brand, say Mandarin Oriental, Marriott, Accor, or whatever, they are effectively buying into what that brand stands for, right? Whether it is training programs, development programs, diversity and inclusion, whatever it might be, right? And then, of course, because a lot of the investors like to have a particular brand, it could be for a number of reasons. It could be because of the value that they get out of it. Because it could also be because of the pride they get out of it, right? But effectively, there is a contract and there is a set of attributes that must be accomplished. And investors like to always normally say, oh, this is a problem of the operator. Like if we're talking about number of people or the culture of the company or how happy the people are. And yes, to a certain extent, the company, the operator will be the one driving this, but the owner needs to have buy-in to this because effectively it will impact the owner's P&L, right? And I think now more than ever there needs to be a shift, or I suppose a realignment of expectations as far as EBITDA margins and GOP margins are concerned, because they can no longer be the same as before, because nothing is the same as before, particularly when it comes to costs of hiring, cost of energy, and especially cost of retaining people.
You just thinking, okay, you agree to this. If there are any questions will be out from the audience, please do not hesitate, raise up your arm. We're happy to take you in this classmate meeting. I can just jump to you. Keeps me a bit more sportive this morning.
Yes. This hotels, it's a structurally dysfunctional industry that we've pushed wages down so much. We do labor arbitrage, bringing in people from other countries to supplant them. And it's quite an indictment after the pandemic that people don't, in many countries, they don't want to come back to hospitality. They'd rather work in an eBay or a Amazon warehouse. Think about that, rather than a social, clean environment. It's really an indictment on the industry that we've created such poor conditions, very few career opportunities, and they're part-time jobs. And that's not what the romance of the industry is about. And what is pleasant in this town is everyone in my hotel is a local. I felt like I was in another country. Okay, I live in Dubai now. That's different. You have to import labor there. And you don't see any local other than the passport agent. That's it. But go to Britain. And they're dying because of Brexit. There's no locals working there. Go to America. They're quasi-immigrant labor there. And you go, and part of traveling is getting the local flavor. And our industry often imports foreign people, so you don't even know you're in what country you're in. But it's all due to this labor arbitrage in an industry that doesn't create career opportunities or pay people a decent living wage.
May I take this? It's not it's not the role to be loved here, And I like if we have a strong discussion about it. I pick up what is a reasonable salary. Let's go on. You wanted to answer immediately.
Okay, so I'll start with Hilton, our, let's say, strategy, which we have implemented after COVID. And again, I'm mentioning pandemic, but for Hilton Prague, I'm mentioning pandemic because it was a very hard time for us. Before the pandemic, we had 360 team members, and the half of team members were unfortunately made redundant and left company. So we have started with 180 team members, and we have to grow again to current number, which is more than 300. And it's not only let's say topic for Hilton Prague, but for Hilton at all. And that's why we have implemented a lot of initiatives and a lot of new projects to support, and not only young generation and new generation, but also we are concentrated in US, for example, for veterans, in other countries for team members 55 plus to support them within their careers. And for example, at Hilton Prague, we did a lot of surveys and we have increased significantly our salaries. Also, it was painful.
Quickly? Percentage is also fine.
I would say if I count all percentage, so altogether for low base of salaries, it was as of 2021 until now 25, 28, more than 28%, plus some benefit system.
Cleaning your sheets and doing all these things. That's not about the environment. That's about cutting costs. And what you're cutting single parent women employees, cleaning ladies. That's the reality. So we always go in this industry, we cut the cost by pushing on the weakest link, the poorest person. And that is the reality of our industry.
Yeah.
Before we are blaming just the industry, because I spoke, you are right, okay, one side. Let's see what's happened with our society. 7 million people in States last year, they changed their job. You mentioned that people, they are working now, young people in Amazon. I don't know, I didn't find them where they are. Millions of people are leaving not just hospitality. You don't find today in construction, you don't find today in agriculture. Where are these younger? I don't know. Somebody disintegrated? I don't know. But let's see the reality and let's see how we, the industry, will change our industry. Because the industry will change dramatically, and once again, I presume then the capex will increase because if we are not automatize hotels, not frontline, because everybody needs a human being in the front line, but the back of the site, it's a shame today. Okay, we are in the prehistoric era about automatization, not robotization. I'm speaking about automatization. We have a vacuum cleaning in our house. We have carpets that you don't need it to clean up for months. We have windows in nanotechnology. Nothing is in hospitality. Nothing. We are not investing because we want the investment cost to be lower. And after you have an OPEX tremendously big. And it's not about cost, it's about people. So what about the cost? We are cutting to where? We don't find these people. They are not coming. This is a reality. And if we start to price that people, young people, let's come back, it's an illusion. We have to change. And it's a dramatic change that we have to start it, and we have to start it with the automatization of the back office. Because if you go to the automotive industry today, you can have a big plant with 1 people, a concierge and a dog, not to let you in, okay? It's not the case in our industry, then we are pushing people to work as in agriculture, and we are not doing clever investment. We have engineers, they're very expensive for us. We have to change our mind also with our industry.
Just one comment from my side also related to how difficult it is to find people for job. Work at hotel is very hard. Chambermaids, they are working 24/7, and to be honest, a lot of people now, young people, and I'm going back to their values, are, for example, asking for part-times only, to have a flexibility. So there also we need to change our minds and to offer a different type of working contracts to make them happy and to make them to be interested to go back to hospitality.
I'd just like to conclude. The first thing, we have to review processes in hotel. If you look to the existing hotel buildings, you may have a problem to do these investments, but they may have employees. So we conclude we're not building a new hotel. If we build a new hotel, we have to tell the investors, sorry, you have to do more capex into the automation in there, which brings me to the point you get less return of invest because we have to do the investment in the HR as well. Correct?
It depends where in HR, because if you have today good middle manager, look in States. In States, the waiters, they are working with the tips, okay? But because they have very good middle managers, that they can pick up people from the street to do a very short training, to coach him and to make him
but
go.
this is the value change we're discussing, and I know we're discussing this in 30 years, why we're not implementing the state system and then social security, and we have a wealthy Europe, being honest, the young generation grew up with nothing missed. And if you ask the young generation what was the biggest crisis they had in their life, they came up with the corona, and when you ask them, and my daughter, she said, I had to stay at home. I said, okay, apologize that the fridge was filled. And it gives you, and it's a fault from our generation it came, because remember 2010 was the last crisis? Yeah, we were growing fast, we were overspoiling ourselves, we working, and I was quite happy that my, those days, daughter, 11 years old, is doing her school perfectly, and okay, give her the next smartphone, then she shuts down, yeah. That's what most of the parents done. It's not the matter she was taking drugs or something like this. She was functionalized working. And the industry functioned as well, and now it does not work anymore. Duarte.
Interesting discussion, and I partially agree with some of the comments made. And I think that the answer really, I mean, when you start looking at the workplace, culture, and you start looking at attracting and retaining talent, there's a few aspects that we need to consider. And it fundamentally comes down to it's a relationship, right? Like any other relationship. Like you meet somebody, you get together, you start dating. It's your choice as to what is important to you to continue that relationship, right? And what actually makes you stay. And there's no difference in the workplace, right? It's about the company culture. It's about what opportunities are there for me and how do I identify with the culture, right? Ultimately, it comes down to a harmonious alignment of values between the employees and the employers, right? But to one of the comments that were made earlier, which I tend to agree, is why is it difficult to attract people? And I think it's also because the industry has to do a much better job at reinventing itself, right? I mean, a lot of our hotels nowadays are still, or are rather, shells of their former selves, right? I mean, adaptive spaces, for example, the implementation of technology, health and safety, and so on.
It's because operational drift.
Correct, but goes back to that realignment of expectations from an investor standpoint, And some of these changes and implementations will create challenges, right, which we have to adapt to. But what they will also do, they will create new job opportunities in reshaping the traditional roles as we see them today, right? I was recently in a conference in Vegas, and somebody said to me, which I think it was brilliantly said, we need to automate the normal so that we can humanize the exceptional. And it goes back to making sure that young people have jobs that are fulfilling and they feel that they are making a difference.
We have another question.
Hello, sorry.
We have a micro,
yeah.
great. No sports.
So you mentioned mid-management people, and my question is, I mean, which company or from the industry, who is going to actually think about to educate mid-management people? Because if Clio and EHL and all other school is creating top managers, I mean, for the fee, the students need to pay. I also have a degree from EHL. I mean, these guys never go to be a concierge because it's just impossible, to earn back the money we invested in our future. But who is going to educate the concierge, especially in the luxury lifestyle level? And I'm from Eastern Europe, so I think I understand the workforce problem. And until the point the industry is not showing what is your career option in this industry, even in the middle management level, how the industry expect that young generation is going to come and work with us. And my question is, what is the industry answer for this question?
If I may take this, I think when it comes to education, it's a very important topic. And I think when we start looking at the evolution of people in their careers, when they start from literally the first job and then they grow into their careers, although the progress of everybody is very different, very unique to the specific circumstances, whether it is social, economic, or educational background, whatever it might be, but there are a lot of similarities, when it comes to this pattern. And we have to recognize that education plays a massive, important role, like you just said. And I think that there are companies out there that not only are attributing some scholarships and some literally funding to be able to give away studies to their employees, not only at senior executive levels but also at inter levels. And I can attest that Mandarin Oriental, for example, is one of them. We've just given I'm actually one of them. That I'm doing one now with Cornell. With Le Roche. My apologies, which has been fantastic and it's been great because it's very flexible and it meets my schedule, which is great. But also with other institutions where we actually do give away study opportunities for rank and file staff, whether it's somebody like a concierge, for example, or a reservations agent, or a front office agent, or a waiter, for example. The other thing that when we talk about education, we talk about, there is this mentality where we talk about formal education, which is super important as well, Le Roche, Lyon, and so on. But there's also education about cross-departmental, cross-hotel education. So in our example with Mandarin, we have something called CEAs, so Cultural Exchange Ambassadors. And what we do effectively is we send people from our hotels to other hotels and vice versa. So we move people around for short assignments, slightly bigger assignments. It could be 2 weeks, it could be a month, it could be 2 months. And what that does, it gives people that opportunity to have that exposure to a different culture, because we are working in a very diverse industry where most of our people that we have around our hotels, maybe not so much in Prague, but in some of the areas of the world, like Dubai, for example, we have we might have 200 nationalities in one hotel. So having that exchange and be able to understand the culture, customs, and so on is also part of education.
Then you mentioned about Le Roche, Lyon, Cornell. I don't know what's about, but I was 22 years with EHL in executive board, and I have an alumni here. I'm very happy. I want to tell you something that EHL, 55% of the graduates, they are not going in hotel industry. They are going in hospitality. Hospitality, that means everything. That means clinics, that means hospitals, that means luxury industry, that means multinational, because we are speaking about management. The big problem today about the scarcity of people is not coming with the management. But if we are looking even the qualities that today we have with the management, we still have some problem. But we are speaking about the real manpower that is not just the top level. And here it's something that we have to understand, that the value changed dramatically for everybody, for us also. What we learned in pandemic with the war, that we can die. The fear is the most important trigger in our life. We not realize, but the fear. The young generation, they learn that they can die in pandemic. They learn that the war is on our doors, they can die, okay? They don't want money. This is not the first thing. I don't know what you find in the industry, but the last thing that they are asking today is how much. You have waiter, you tell, if you are nice, if you are doing like this, you'll increase your tip. I don't care. They want a comfort of their life. They want security. They want health. They want to feel good. They want to be happy. And they learn that happiness and money are not correlated. And this is a big problem. If we bring fun in our job, if we tell them, come in my company, you have really fun, you have a variety, you have flexibility, you can change. I remember once we have a project with Hyatt Industry to create flexibility, okay? And to let a bartender to move in the banqueting, okay? It was the union first, they said, no, it's not possible. When you create this flexibility, you give to the people a motivation. If you keep somebody for years in the same place, you transform him in a automatization, in a robot, okay? People don't want to be a robot. Then our behavior in the relation with the young generation have to change, because our role as a manager today, we are a stage director. If we want to increase the NPS, we have to put the customer on a stage to make them a star, and this will be done by our people. And we have to teach our people that this industry is the funniest in the world. It's the varieties and the flexibility, and we have to love it. If we can transfer this love to our people, they will transfer to their guests.
Sorry, just the feedback for Mandarin. I think Mandarin is an amazing company, but as you mentioned, your program is for the people who are already in the industry. But what you are going to do with the young guys, like from high schools or from university?
From kindergarten.
Exactly, to really attract them to come and work with us on the mid-manager level. And it's only my opinion, but I think until the point that the industry is not going to invest also in the mid-management level, I think it's not going to be a future for those guys, because not everyone wants to be a director, not everyone want to be a leader, but like having a kind of vision for life, this is crucial for everyone, even if it's a housekeeper or a concierge or waiter, whatever. And I think, I mean, from the top level, it's sometimes very difficult to understand what's going on down, but we need to like take off this kind of hat and like think about with this young guys' brain and trying to figure out what they feel. And I also can tell, when I started hospitality, I had no idea about, I mean, I knew about this restaurant, what is hotel, but I had no idea what does it mean, sales and banqueting and how many options we have. And I used to teach, and I stopped it because it was just too many energy, and I had no time for that. But I was trying to convince the young guys to come and work with us because it's a shorter way to be a leader. But so many people and so many students choose to work for Pricewaterhouse or the Big Fours because that's what they know. They know what does it mean Big Four. They know what does it mean be an account manager or something like that. And that's what I feel that we are not showing. I mean, all together, not only the big companies, but I think it's true for everyone. But we are not showing for these kids what hospitality means, and we are not giving them enough knowledge about what are the options for traveling for development, and I really hope that one day it's going to change.
Yeah, but if you go back to teaching, no, honestly, if you teach and if you, for out of the class, only one you convinced per semester, per month
we launch a
to do
program.
the job, only one, you may. We have another question.
Yeah, just to answer regarding, because our approach, and coming back to guest reviews, we do exactly and apply exactly the same for employee survey. And basically there is a direct correlation between employee satisfaction and guest experience. And this is also something I didn't basically talk about it, but nothing new, but which tells basically that absolutely we need to focus much more on the employee development, employee talent, cross-exposure in other departments, and let them grow, offering careers. And at the end of the day, we talk about guest experience. I think we should reinforce how important is the employee experience, because the young generation are really looking for an experience and not necessarily a job. So that's basically it also changed conversation how to approach investment and at the hotel level.
If I may make a comment with Rahel, with Mandarin for Oriental, and of course, different companies have different ways of attracting young talent, or for even entry-level positions, and offering them a vocation, and a lifestyle. With Mandarin Oriental, for example, we have something that we call Rising Fans, and what that is effectively is on a yearly basis we hire hundreds and hundreds of students from different schools all over the world, right? Switzerland, so on. And we basically bring them in to do what we call a development program. It goes through different departments in the hotel. It could be,
classical trainee program Hilton introduced 25 years ago.
However, so that is one way. The other way that we do it, I think it's very unique to our industry. We have something called POPCOs. So at corporate level, we have our OPCO, Operating Committee, which consists of our CEO, CFO, COO, all the C-suite. Okay. And each of those have what we call a POPCO, Parallel Operating Committee. And that normally is somebody who has just come out of, just graduated, or someone who is relatively young on their career, right? And what they do, they effectively shadow this person for a year, right? And then they get very hands-on experience of what is to be a leader at that level, right? And then what happens is they can actually choose, and they have options to what to go next. For example, our hotel manager at the brand new Ritz Madrid is one of these POPCOs.
And when he was burning for the industry first time, when do you get and catch them and make them happy to say, yes, I want to work in the industry? And what age? 25?
Well, it goes back to education, right, in the schools, right? I mean,
exactly.
If somebody who normally goes to a hospitality school, you would not almost feel that person wants to be.
I believe even before the school, because the decision-taking process for the industry is much earlier.
But you mentioned something, it's not a joke. You say that, Professor, kindergarten. Okay, let me tell you something. In the Eastern Europe, in the last 30 years, we destroy the vocational education from the kindergarten. My generation, we had a workshop and we learned how to do with our hands a lot of things. Today, it's 100% theory, okay? Just a northern country, Switzerland, Germany, Finland, they still respect the things done with our hand. 62% in the Swiss population, they have a certificate before a university study, okay? They go first to learn how to do it their hand, and after they go to learn more. But let me tell you something that is much more important. Tell me, please, one CEO of the hotel chain that is coming from hospitality. One. Just give me an example of one CEO in the last 10 years. We do not have any CEO in the hotel industry coming from hospitality. They are coming from finance or from legal. Why? Because the structural investor, an investment fund, they are speaking in Excel. And to see the result now, then to miss something, and what he has missed a human part of this.
Well, Excel is the best invent since Michael Porter theory, yeah, because in Excel you can make any kind of business model, and we know Excel never lies. That's a good thing. The thing is, yes, but if you have somebody come from legal and somebody comes from finance department, that's my experience of getting CEO company stops moving. Because the financial guy is always anxious of losing money, and the legal is anxious to going into prison, and so he both will never take this decision. But I give you, I recognize we have a lot of piles where we can work on it, and a lot of pillows there around. But I tell you three figures. We just about publishing the chain report Austria, Switzerland, Germany, and when we compare it to the past years. The Austrians in the upper upscale market in the private hotel industry grew. The Swiss people in this market stabilized, but in the eco and budget grew. And the Germany, forget the upscale market, it's only the eco and the budget market. Now think it and look it through the glasses of investors. What makes them more convincing investing into Motel Ones and all these kind of Moxie brands, whatever it is, and I learned yesterday it's all about brand. What makes them convincing into investment in these hotels instead of doing luxury products? Because in these three countries I mentioned, except Switzerland, Zurich, and Geneva, nobody's really paying the price which you may ask for a Hyatt or which you may ask for a Mandarin Oriental. Yeah, because you cannot pay it, as you said, you have to pay the employees on a fair salary base, and at the end of the day, it's the return. Second figure, we done 2019 all about brand. An official study asking the people in Germany which hotel brands are you aware. Hilton and Steigenberger were the most famous one. Below 30 years, forget it. There were drops, they don't know the brands. Maybe they heard about Marriott or a Sheraton brand, but they have no identification behind of it. Then we asked them who's the service leader, Steigenberger top. Yeah, what is the price value of Steigenberger down? Totally on the level. The Americans were totally upset and said to me, how can it be you love to get the service, but you're not willing to pay for this? Coming back to the employees, how do you want to pay the employees? Now think about this thinking. It's exactly what your employees have also in their mind. They are customers as well.
But there are two categories of investor, okay? There are many categories, in fact. And the problem today, we have too many segments in everything, also in hospitality. If you want an investment fund to keep your value with the years and to have a fantastic exit, you go in upscales, in 5-star, because you'll not sell the building, you'll sell the Four Seasons or I don't know. If you want the cash flow, you go in the economic hospitality because it will produce you cash. And if the fund want to produce cash to give back and not to do an exit in 5 years, they will go in these scales.
And some banks are you have him behind discussing.
The problem is absolutely true what you are saying. Which investor ask an hotel chain, what about the quality of your people? Which investor? They will learn today, and I'm convinced that they will learn in the next year, then that have to be the main question. What kind of people do you have? Because you mentioned that in Asia people are coming in Europe, but think about the impact of the European culture and what will happen in the next year with this huge impact. It's not a joke. Will be a huge change, because if we do not have employees ourselves and we'll be forced to bring people, and look what's happened in Austria, okay? Just an example.
Just time, because I want to have last day. Sorry. This was a statement I would like to hear from you as well. What do we discuss in a year from now on? One short sentence. Have we solved the problem, and what is the development? Should we get rid of hotels? What is your your opinion?
Employees, team members are the biggest value for the investors, for the owners, and for the operators.
Okay, investors' responsibility?
I think we're going to start seeing a bigger shift into what the traditional HR competencies and departments are, to more of a mindset, strategic departments. You start seeing already some companies implementing or hiring chief mindset officers, just to change that, because I agree, the hospitality has to change, has to evolve, and a year from now, and then any investor that does not ask about the people of the brand that they're trying to get associated with, is because it's probably the wrong relationship there.
We discussed about artificial intelligence versus biological intelligence.
Thank you very much. I understand very much there will be a new point called pre-opening CapEx into HR in the future when we put development. Thank you for the discussion. Nice to having you here. This critical discussion, I think, will be keeping us running in the next 5 years. Thank you very much.